Hello, my fellow FNAF fans. Welcome to the second part of the Circus Baby video. The Circus Baby collab that I did with Evan, and the deep dive into Circus Baby Villainy. So before I start, this is a little bonus. This is not scripted, but I wanted to go over the contents of this room in Security Breach, since it has sparked a lot of controversy as time has gone on. And I want to explain why the person here, whoever this is, cannot be Gregory. And I am going to be making the case. Here's the case why. So the first thing is the only way to enter this room in this game is to enter by using the fast cam on all four of like the cardboard cutouts in the game. Gregory does not have access to the fast cam. In fact, he doesn't even know what it is. In order to get into this room, you have to have a fast cam, something that is sold. You also have to shine them on all of the cardboard cutouts, something that Gregory has also not done. So that is the first thing, the reason why Gregory cannot enter this place. But the second thing is, if we go into the room, the contents of the room, which is pretty important, we see this clothing. So first of all, while it's hard, I don't think we can actually see Gregory here. I don't think we can. Gregory would not fit into any of these clothes. However, you know who would fit into these clothes? The girl that we see on the intro of the Ruined DLC poster. Now, you could argue that these clothes may be fitting Vanessa, and I thought about that for a second as well, because there is a green boot here, a boot that would not fit Gregory at all. I mean, this clearly would not. However, it could fit Vanessa. But then why would Vanessa be dismantling all of these staff bots everywhere? It also doesn't make sense. And then you also look around though, and that this boot is not the only boot in here. You also, shoe in here. You also have the speed shoes, for those who don't know. In this game, these shoes that you see right here, the ones that I'm shining, these are speed shoes that you can get. And they're an upgrade that you can get. I don't know exactly where, but I know that they make you go faster. However, this doesn't necessarily mean that these are Gregory's, because if you look at Freddy's room, at the beginning of the game, these shoes are also there, meaning that they have access, like someone else has access to it. So that means that, that means that it can't be Vanessa. I mean, it could be Vanessa, but it can't be Gregory. For the last reason why it can't be Gregory is the fact that he is not someone who's going to dismantle these animatronics. These, oh, Freddy, wait. Hi, Freddy. I didn't mean to call you there. Go away. So, we take a look at these staff bots. These are completely wrecked staff bots, as we know. However, Gregory cannot defeat them. And this is emphasized throughout the entire room. Whoever is in this room has been destroying a bunch of staff bots. You have, I think, a total of 4. So, people are saying, well, Gregory's a robot. He's piecing himself together with robot parts through the staff bots. But that doesn't add up, because at the beginning of the game, Gregory is saying, I don't want to be crushed and turned into a meat pretzel, meaning that Gregory thinks that he is a human. So that leaves one last person, and that is the Ruined DLC girl. And here is why I think that. It's this poster right here. We have a drawn poster with me and Freddy. And what are the qualifications here? We have hair color. That hair color is not Gregory's. I understand, I'm using low graphics here, so the graphics are not as easily seen, but Gregory has brown hair. That is not Gregory's hair color. That is someone else's hair color. But the other qualification is to have red shoes. And yes, technically Gregory does have part red shoes, but so does the other girl. And in order for this to be Gregory's place, Gregory had to draw this, meaning that he has hung out with Freddy. But as I have gone over, he can't be destroying the staff bots. He doesn't know how. And there's one reason why I know that he does not destroy the staff bots. I am going to the FNAF Security Breach State of Play trailer. This was the trailer that came out before Security Breach was released. And I want you guys to take a look at this because it includes cut content. So I am going to leave it off. Okay, here we go. So we get a shot of the atrium. I'm going to pause right here. Okay, right here. Take a look at this, okay? You have these two staff bots here. Now, many people are wondering, why are these here? It doesn't make sense why these things are here, because they should be, just going all around the Pizzaplex, just finding everyone. Wow, okay. So my camera, I'm sorry about that. But here is the reason why. These staff bots were intended to be in the game, but were cut. Why were they cut? Well, taking a look at what replaced them, I could go there, but I don't know if I want to. So, what replaced them are kiddie rides. The rides that, you insert a coin and, you go back and forth, basically. They are now distractions. So this means that whatever these things are, the things that were replaced, these were originally supposed to be distractions. But why were these cut? In fact, I think that it would make the atmosphere a lot better if these actually replaced the kiddie rides in some areas, because the kiddie rides in some areas doesn't make sense, especially by a stage. The staff bots make 100% sense. So why were these cut? Well, they were cut because it would make no lore sense if Gregory was able to mess with them. And if Gregory was able to mess with them, then many people would have concluded that this room right here, where there are 4 different staff bots destroyed, that would be Gregory's doing. So if it can't be Gregory, and if it can't be Vanessa, then it is the girl in the Security Breach DLC Ruin. It's on the poster, and I don't see anything here that would mean that it's not. So that is my conclusion. And that is the contents of this room. It could very well mean something. It could not. It probably means something because this might be where we originally start out in the Ruin DLC. We might find her up here, or we might find her trapped somewhere else, but she might bring us here for whatever reason, for contents. But that's the identity of this room. I've been rambling on for a little bit, so let's start the video. Hello, my fellow FNAF fans. You guys know the drill. We're just gonna skip the intro and get immediately into the part 2 deep dive of Circus Baby's possible villainy. So the next game that we have to go over is Help Wanted. Now I will say I hit a stumbling block for a little while at Help Wanted, or so I thought. Quite a bit more on that later. The reason being that Circus Baby has very little with the story of Help Wanted, including the information from the tapes. There's very, very little that Tape Girl in any way has connection to Circus Baby. However, with the context of what's going on with the whole game, you can draw some conclusions about the role that Elizabeth has in the game, along with one that I will talk about later. More on that later. Starting with the tapes, many people often forget how Glitchtrap got into the game at the first place. This is directly explained in tape 5, in which there are some huge details to mention here.
Someone was here. I don't think it was spring cleaning either. No, there was plastic on the floor. Someone was definitely here during the night. It was just junk. Circuit boards and things like that. Looked pretty old. Somehow though, there was usable code on some of it. It seemed to take hold by itself. Things started changing. But then, he started appearing. At least that's what Jeremy said.
So according to Tape Girl, at some point during the beta testing process, the only reason Glitchtrap existed was because of old circuit boards scanned into the game found by an unknown entity. However, as we know from both Eleanor and Fazbear's Frights and Frailty, the pendants will turn you into a pile of garbage and metal. So is it possible that Elizabeth, with control of the pendants as shown in Frailty, somehow was able to use Remnant and put it into a circuit board, therefore allowing the soul of William Afton to turn into a computer-generated virus of him inside Help Wanted? Although, as I will go over a little bit later, that is not the case. I just don't want to spoil things here. I know, it sounds ridiculous, and it is, but it's also very possible with the context of the pendants, and if you think about it, Elizabeth, if she did survive in the fire and wanted to, quote, make her father proud, found a way to use some of the remaining Afton remnant and put it into the circuit boards. When you get to tape 8, you start hearing some really fishy stuff when it comes to Jeremy's relationship with Fazbear Entertainment.
The thing about it is that I don't think they were going to fire him because of anything he was doing wrong. They just knew he'd seen something. They needed to discredit him.
Now, why would Tape Girl document something like this? Why is Tape Girl's suspicion of Fazbear Entertainment firing Jeremy because he saw a virus just shoved in here so randomly? Or, more importantly, why would Fazbear Entertainment fire Jeremy after seeing the glitch trap virus in the first place? You could technically make the argument that Jeremy could spill out that the VR game has a virus and that Fazbear Entertainment is releasing it anyways because they don't care about the safety of their games, but that really is a stretch. We never actually see the game released to the public. The only plausible explanation is that someone has been conspiring with Fazbear Entertainment this whole time about the glitch trap virus itself. And the real question is there any character in the series who has A, the possibility of doing that, and B, the intent of doing that? And the answer is only one: Baby. But how could she do that? Well, if we are to look at the tank of Fury's Rage Baby, MadPap's observation of it looking like a human is very possible, meaning that she has say in what goes on in Fazbear Entertainment. In fact, as I will go over later, she not only has say, she's an actual employee at the Pizzaplex. Does it mean she's the CEO? Not necessarily, but it's also not out of the realm of possibility either. And when we get to arguably the most popular tape, tape 13, Tape Girl explains that the whole point of the game Help Wanted was to cover up Steve's games, which tackled the huge events of the series to quote-unquote cover up the mysteries of Fazbear Entertainment.
They lied to us. They lied to all of us. They told us that the whole point of this VR game was to undo the bad PR done by a rogue indie game developer who supposedly made up a bunch of crazy stories that tarnished the brand. But that's not true at all. In their haste to develop this VR game and clear their name, they sent us some things I don't think they intended us to see, such as a hard drive containing emails between Fazbear Entertainment and a certain indie developer. Fazbear Entertainment hired the game developer. Those indie games were designed to conceal and make light of what happened. This isn't just an attempt to rebrand. It's an elaborate cover-up, a campaign to discredit everything.
However, here's a question I have heard nobody ask. How did Fazbear Entertainment access the games back? Looking back at the events of Help Wanted in Tales from the Pizzaplex, Victoria, who I personally believe to be Baby herself, murders Steve in the house. The only way for Fazbear Entertainment to retrieve the games is either A, have a file to the games directly online, which is technically possible, although unlikely, or B, the games were delivered to Fazbear Entertainment at some point. Remember, Victoria's house in Help Wanted is in the middle of nowhere. Unless Fazbear Entertainment goes to Victoria's house and finds the dead body of Steve, someone delivered the games to Fazbear Entertainment directly. Who is the only person to do that? Victoria, who I have concluded in a past theory is Eleanor, or Elizabeth's new body. Anyways, back to the game. Now, if my observations are correct, then the timeline goes like this in Help Wanted. Fazbear Entertainment hires Steve to work on the games to cover up the bad history of FNAF so they can rebrand and expand their company once again. However, Elizabeth, realizing that it would interfere with bringing her father back, decides to sabotage the plan by setting up an illusion and retrieving the games created by Steve. She then delivers the games to Fazbear Entertainment, probably posing as Steve's wife with an illusion disc, and Fazbear Entertainment decides to make the game of Help Wanted. However, at some point, Elizabeth decides to deliver a bunch of circuit boards to Fazbear Entertainment as well, to then deliver to the Help Wanted game testing site. These get scanned into FNAF VR and enter the glitch trap virus. Elizabeth fails to inject the glitch trap virus into Jeremy, and then the game gets shifted over to a different studio, revealed in tape 10, where Vanessa is waiting to test the VR game. She then listens to the 16 tapes that allow glitch trap to take over Vanessa's mind, causing her to be infected with the glitch trap virus, and as a result, has the birth of Villainy. This is the rough timeline. It could obviously be edited at some point in the future. As for a few other little tidbits of Circus Baby villainy information and help wanted, take Night Terrors for example. Now while Circus Baby is not possessed by anything, notice the only characters for Night Terrors, the Nightmare and Sister Location animatronics. If you are to believe that the Nightmare animatronics and Sister Location animatronics are the only animatronics with illusion discs, the theory that MatPat suggested and I still believe, then this is once again more evidence to suggest that Baby has an illusion disc. Going over to the vent repairs minigame, at the bottom of Ennard's vent repairs where you have to go to a boiler room and control the pathway of fire in order to recontrol pipes and operate it safely. Now does this fit anywhere? Not necessarily by itself, but considering that it's taking place in a possibly unseen area of the Sister Location bunker with Ennard, who is Circus Baby in Sister Location, it could very well imply that Circus Baby knows very well how to avoid and or control fire. And as a little bonus observation, at the end of the minigame where you light up the furnace, it looks suspiciously similar to the most obscure characters in the series, Broiler Baby from FNAF VR. And lastly, to end off the Help Wanted section of this video, I present to you the weakest evidence of the video so far. By a lot, but hey, I still decided to include it anyway. Looking at the whole premise of the Plush Baby minigame, it is completely based off 3 different Circus Babies coming at you from the most obscure and unexpected places. And if you are to take MatPat's theory, believing that Vanny, the CEO of Fazbear Entertainment, and a different Circus Baby are all coming after you from the most unexpected places revealed in Security Breach, then the Plush Baby minigame completely parallels what happens in Security Breach. Or, you know, if you don't believe Vanny and the CEO of Fazbear Entertainment are Elizabeth, like me, then Baby comes out of the most unexpected places. Like I said, really crappy evidence, but hey, you never know, it could mean something. This is FNAF after all. Now before I get to the big one, being Security Breach in the Ruin DLC, I want to briefly talk about Special Delivery and the emails. Now in MatPat's terrible theory recently, he said that he doesn't believe FNAF AR is canon. Well, sorry Matt, it is, and the emails in it are one of the reasons why. Quite a few people have been saying recently that they believe Vanessa, in some way or another, is possessed by Elizabeth. While I don't necessarily believe it, I could see where they're coming from. And if it were true, the strongest evidence actually lies in the email in FNAF AR from Lewis sent to Vanessa. Hey Ness, I hope things are going good. I saw you order 3 lifelike human male rubber masks, and I was dying to know what they're for. Was my screenplay guess right? Are you making a movie or putting together some kind of performance? Now here's the crazy thing. What did we hear Tape Girl say in Help Wanted about when Jeremy cut off his own face?
There was something that looked like a Halloween mask laying on the floor. I didn't understand. Ink must have spilled. It was only then that I heard a shuffle from the testing room and realized Jeremy must be there. I went back and peered in the window. I couldn't see his face. He had the visor covering his head.
So in FNAF AR, Lewis, in a very short email, is confirming that Vanessa bought lifelike human male rubber masks. If this email seems very random, you are correct, it is, until you hear the tape, and might possibly think that whoever is possessing Vanessa, whether it's William or Elizabeth, is ordering Jeremy's face. And going back to Sister Location, what did Elizabeth say multiple times throughout the game?
The only thing that matters is knowing how to pretend.
Is this relevant? Maybe, maybe not. You guys decide. Anyway, I don't necessarily believe this theory, but if it were true, it is once again another unexpected possibility of Elizabeth's comeback. Anyway, enough of FNAF AR. I could go into a bit more, but I don't want to bore you guys because, like, nobody likes FNAF AR. So now, let's get into the game that all of you have been waiting for. Security Breach. I could go into the books, but that will be saved for part 3 because, well, I haven't actually read all of Somnophobia or Somnichanophobia yet, so I decided to wait a bit before I start going into the book lore. But going into Security Breach, there is a lot to go over. One of the biggest things that I have concluded is that Elizabeth is Patient 46. I know I may have a few plot holes, but Evan is going to explain why we believe that Elizabeth is Patient 46.
One of the ongoing mysteries in Security Breach is the identity of Patient 46. Over on my channel, I've made multiple videos discussing the concept of Elizabeth Afton actually being Patient 46. Many people don't believe this, but looking at the evidence, it seems to me to be the most likely option. I will be making another video on the topic to come out early January, planned to be like the first day of January, maybe, if I'm able to get it out by then. So stay tuned for that on my channel by subscribing if you aren't already subscribed to me, as in the video then I'll be going over all the evidence and more. However, here, I will be going over a good amount of evidence, pretty much most of it, so that you can understand the basic concept. In Fazbear Frights, there is the character of Eleanor, who, while not possessed by Elizabeth, shares a bunch of common attributes with her. The most notable of these is her design. Eleanor is basically designed like Circus Baby, but with a slimmer body and a longer neck. Contrary to what a lot of people say though, Eleanor and Circus Baby do have a lot in common. Both manipulate the main character in order to kill them and pose as that person, stealing their body. She also uses illusion discs to appear as the child of someone who studies Remnant, which seems to suggest that this man represents William Afton, so Eleanor uses illusion discs to appear as a child of one of the creators of Freddy's. Circus Baby uses illusion discs in the fourth closet to appear as Henry's child, Charlie, the protagonist of the series, who also wears a purple shirt, suggesting that she assumes the role of Michael in the novel trilogy, and Circus Baby in the games uses Michael's body. All this seems to suggest that Eleanor represents Circus Baby, and since Eleanor in Fazbear Frights is the villain after William, one who has been doing stuff in the shadows, it seems like Circus Baby, or Elizabeth in some new body, is Patient 46, as she is another character who does stuff in the shadows. In the final retro CD, it is revealed that Patient 46 is the person who was manipulating Vanessa, and that the backstory that Vanessa uses connects back to Afton's. Her supposed father, named Bill, short for William, got a divorce with his wife and she ended up killing herself. This suggests that Vanessa is using the backstory of one of Afton's children. Patient 46 in the subtitles for other languages uses female pronouns, and William only has one female child, Elizabeth. There's also the fact that an Eleanor-looking figure in Fury's Rage appears next to Vanny's boss fight area, implying that Eleanor and Vanny are connected. This connects back to the idea of Patient 46 being the one to manipulate Vanessa, implying that it is Elizabeth's doing. And finally, there is the fact that Patient 46 seems to be a child, but it doesn't really make sense that a child is doing all of this. It's also revealed that the backstory that Patient 46 uses doesn't match her. It's almost as if she used the backstory of one person while using the body of another, and it just so happens that that is exactly what happens in Epilogue 9 of Fazbear Frights, where Eleanor uses the body of some random girl while also using the backstory of Renelle, Talbert's daughter. This is also to suggest that Patient 46's identity is Elizabeth Afton. If this is to be true, which to me it very much seems to be, it blatantly shows that Elizabeth is very evil, as Patient 46 literally murders the therapist who simply asks questions. You know, what therapists are literally supposed to do? Elizabeth is Patient 46, and Patient 46 is evil, so bada bing bada boom, Elizabeth is as well. This could imply Elizabeth's villainy in the future, as, like I said, Eleanor was the villain after William was killed in Fazbear Frights, so maybe in the games after the events of the Ruin DLC, Elizabeth will take charge and become the villain for the future of the games.
There are also a few other details I wanted to point out here that Evan did not about Patient 46, since I just spent the last hour and a half writing notes about all the tapes. When I first played Security Breach, I was suspicious of Patient 46 being William Afton, or at least in some form, considering that there were a bunch of things leading back to him. You have tape 16 explaining that the glitches led back to him, tape 15 explaining how Patient 46 is the one being the manipulator, clearly showing that she likes the indoors and being in dark areas, something that William got used to being behind a wall for 30 years, etc. But when I found out that the source code in Spanish proved that Patient 46 was given female pronouns, everything changed. This means that whoever Patient 46 is had to have the attributes that William Afton had while also being a girl. So let's check the boxes of the attributes given to Patient 46 throughout the tapes. The first is, does Circus Baby manipulate? The answer is an outstanding yes. Circus Baby's entire plotline in Sister Location is how she was able to manipulate Michael into trusting her so she could escape through the body at the end of the game. And if my observations are correct about FNAF 6, she was able to manipulate us into letting FNAF burn to the ground and escape, as she quotes, "Now we can do what we were created to do." The second is, does Circus Baby like being in dark areas? Well, it's hard to say definitively, but the answer could be, once again, yes. Considering that Circus Baby was underneath the ground in a bunker for the majority of her life, it is very possible she not only got used to being in the dark, so much so that if you turn on the light in Sister Location you can't even see her, but she actually started to like it. The third is, does she have inner monologues? Again, this is a yes. Not only was she alone in her own cave for a decade, one of the biggest character attributes of Circus Baby in Sister Location is that she explains how it says it's very important how to pretend. Meaning that she likely pretended she was still alive and or had friends. Especially if she didn't have anyone to socialize with. The fourth is, does Baby like sugar? This is a reference to tape 6 in which she makes a preemptive attempt to get some candy at the therapist room. The answer, 100% yes. Elizabeth's death in FNAF Sister Location was because of her excitement to see Circus Baby, and one of those reasons was because she can dispense ice cream. This is what lured Elizabeth in the first place, or at least probably one of the reasons. The fifth is the reference to hacking in the tapes. This comes up in tape 4, 5, and 6, where the therapist has suspicions that patient 46 is hacking, and every time she asks a question like this, the therapist ends up getting killed. So is Baby a hacker? While there isn't any solid evidence, the speculative answer is a definite yes. Elizabeth was able to escape through the use of illusion discs, where, as I pointed out in the last video, is what Ennerad has, and what she's probably using to make herself look like a child in the therapist room. She's also proven to know exactly how to use these illusion discs, since, as I pointed out in my Help Wanted video, she is Victoria. And lastly, the therapist makes the notice in tape 4 that patient 46 is not able to fit into the chair. And would Elizabeth not be able to fit into the chair? The answer, according to what we see in Fury's Rage, is a yes. She has a clearly slim body, resembling Fourth Closet Charlie and or Eleanor. The skinniness would make it hard for her to fit into the chair. Now, all of this evidence may be a huge stack and nearly proof, but it was that last one, the one that I had a huge issue with fitting into the character of Circus Baby. Tape 16, the tape that I thought was clear and solid proof of William being patient 46, because, well, I'll just let you hear it.
I got another message from the techs at the Pizzaplex. I'm afraid it's about you again. The techs have been struggling to fix some serious glitches with the robots. I'm not sure what exactly is wrong, except that it's making the robots more eerie than entertaining. You like that? Eerie instead of entertaining? Thanks, but it's really not that funny. Apparently, the glitch extended beyond the robots. It went system-wide. It began infecting all the machines, and when the techs traced the glitch back to its origin, it led them to you. I'm not going to pretend to understand everything I'm reading here, but what I get is that the system-wide glitch was like a cascade that was broadcasting a very dangerous message. While the techs were trying to reprogram the system to remove the glitch, the source of the glitch shifted. You'll have to excuse me, I'm not all that familiar with computer programming, so I might get this wrong, but what I understand is that the glitch stopped being a glitch and turned into an intentional set of subroutines that were aimed at creating the same thing the glitch created. Those subroutines seem to have come from you. Can you explain that? Listen, I'm on your side here. Our sessions are just between you and me. The techs can't prove what they think, so you're not in trouble. I just thought you could tell me what you're trying to do. Maybe if we could get to the bottom of that, it could help you. What do you think? Still not talking? All right. Well, then let's do this. Why don't we talk about the research I did in your past, shall we? Some therapists think they should only focus on information they get from their clients, but some therapists, like me, think it's helpful to find out about clients from other sources. Wanna guess what I found out when I looked into the tragedy of your past? All that stuff about your parents? You aren't even gonna look at me? Fine. You can look at the floor all you want. But it won't change the fact that none of what you said in your file about your parents was true. The truth is, you had great parents, a great childhood. Why did you lie? Look at me. Tell me why you lied. Well, I can understand why you might feel angry about the way I just confronted you. Why don't we come back to this another day? You're shaking your head as though that's not going to happen.
Two things to note here. One, why would the glitch trap virus be leading back to Elizabeth? And two, why would the therapist be thinking that patient 46 is lying about her parents? The parents thing admittedly doesn't make a whole lot of sense, which is the theory for another day, but as for the virus leading back to her, that is something I can answer. After a long time of thinking and theorizing, I came up with the answer. The answer that I know some people will hate and not believe, but hear me out. Elizabeth is Glitch Trap.
Many people I've talked to say that they find it stupid that William is in two forms in security. That was being the glitch trap virus and Vinny's.
I know, it sounds ridiculous, but hear me out, okay? I know it sounds really stupid on the surface, but there's a lot of merit to this theory, and I know many people don't want to hear this evidence, well, so let's do this as fast as we can. Here we go. Hey everyone, post me here. So, as many of you guys just heard, in a corrupt audio file that I had, you probably heard me starting to explain my explanation for Glitch Trap, why Glitch Trap is Elizabeth. That was because the audio, I exported it at a wrong time with an accidental quirk in the system, basically. So I want to apologize for that, but here is the actual explanation of why I believe that Elizabeth is Glitch Trap.
Many people I've talked to say that they find it stupid that William Afton is in two forms in FNAF Security Breach. That was being the glitch trap virus in Vinny's mind, as well as being trapped in the charging station underground FNAF Security Breach. But what if I told you that that wasn't the case? In the middle of Henry's monologue, he does indeed say, although for one of you the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole, meaning that after the events, William was to be tormented by Cassidy for all of eternity. However, as I concluded in a previous theory, Cassidy was to give up, therefore releasing the glitch trap virus into FNAF Help Wanted. However, this hypothesis is clearly false. In the parallel universe of this event, Andrew, the one you should not have killed standing for Cassidy, faded into darkness and his consciousness became one with Jake in the stitch ray, meaning that Cassidy didn't give up, her consciousness was likely just put into the Princess Quest machine, therefore making the sprite of the game golden. The Princess Quest minigame and Help Wanted, however, are intertwined. It's debatable how that's the case, but in Princess Quest 3 you can go to multiple areas of FNAF Help Wanted, and one of those places is the Grim Foxy Maze, where you find the Villainy mask. This is the one place in Help Wanted where Golden Freddy is present, meaning that after the cutscene in UCN where Cassidy fades into darkness, her consciousness is being put into the Help Wanted universe. This means that Afton simply isn't being tormented anymore. The glitch trap virus, on the other hand, is not Afton. Unless a certain remnant of William was put on a circuit board to be transported into the Help Wanted game, which you could argue is technically possible, there is no way his consciousness would be at two places at once. This is why I've said multiple times that my Glamrock Freddy is Cassidy video is just wrong, and that I believe it to be the fight victim instead. However, there's plenty of evidence to suggest that this is Circus Baby. The reasoning being that the whole point of the glitch trap virus is so it can manipulate someone into freeing Afton underneath the security breach building. This is when the tape comes in. As mentioned earlier, Patient 46 is said to be a manipulator, but the glitches also lead back to her. So if she's the one doing the manipulating of Vanessa, it only makes sense for Baby to use Vanessa as someone to free William through the glitch trap virus. And we know that is her intent, as mentioned in FNAF 6, where she says that she will make her father proud. This means that the purple eyes and the bunny elements of glitch trap don't need to be William. It only needs to be someone who's able to carry on the legacy of the Afton family, since it's just Remnant in the game of Help Wanted. And William, as we know now, is not the only FNAF character to have purple skin colors. I introduce you to Michael Afton. This means that Remnant has a purple entity, therefore giving glitch trap the past to be purple, while also not necessarily being William himself. And we know how Eleanor, likely parallel to Elizabeth in the books, is about Remnant. She was able to take over entire bodies with the pendants that she made, which is now proven to also be in the game universe, as we saw with Frailty.
This means that if Elizabeth is the glitch trap virus, it makes sense why Vanessa and Elizabeth seem to be linked. I also believe that Patient 46 is the quote other person that Vanessa talks to, revealed in the tapes. In tape 5, Vanessa's therapist finds it strange that Vanessa's getting messages from someone during work hours. Messages that, as she concluded, are manipulative in nature. But why would Vanessa be talking to Patient 46? Well, because Patient 46 is manipulating her mind. And yes, I did just say it made no sense for Afton to be in two places at once, but the difference here is that the glitch trap virus in Vanessa's mind don't necessarily seem to be Elizabeth's consciousness. Rather, it's a form of manipulation through Remnant, something that I have made the point is very, very easy for Elizabeth to control, since she knows how to use the pendants that she created. Now, the stuff I have said in the past 5 minutes might have pissed some people off, and I do admit it's a long shot and has holes in it, but again, this is a deep dive, meaning that likely some of this is right and some of this is wrong. I'll encourage you to go back and listen to all the tapes and point out in the comments some of the other stuff that I missed and make corrections to what I just put on the board. And lastly, I bring you to my final list of evidence, which I believe to be some of the most damning evidence in the entire series when it comes to Circus Baby Villainy. As you just saw, I concluded that a baby is glitch trap, something that many people have disagreed with, but it also fits in with this evidence. Circus Baby is the culprit for the Staffbot Stylo post-its. Have you ever looked at the Staffbot Stylo and thought, it looks like a shrine, like a place where you would have a cult? Well, this would make a lot of sense if it was. If Circus Baby was indeed glitch trap, then this place is completely made by Vanny. This would be why Vanny appears right before it in the games, likely because she is guarding this area. This means that whoever is on the post-it notes would be drawn by Vanny as a setup for a cult area. And taking a look at what she draws, Baby fits the mark on pretty much all of these images. In the top right corner, you see a bunch of candy, something that I mentioned Patient 46 reaches for when she sits down. There's a bunch of presents, likely because of a birthday party. You have the colors red, green, blue, and yellow listed, the 4 colors that are in the control room of FNAF's sister location. In multiple images, you see 3 different kids, symbolizing the 3 Afton children, along with the words happy under it, meaning Elizabeth had a good relationship with her siblings. You have one with the words family over it, with a drawing of a house that looks suspiciously like the Midnight Motorist house. You have a security guard with a flashlight, which very well could be Michael, and he's and it's possible that Elizabeth is alive by the time of 1987, as we see with the casting of the movie, and you have a plush bear, which looks suspiciously like the plush Fredbear from FNAF 4. There are more instances of possible connections to Elizabeth. However, there are 3 different pieces of evidence that I think are borderline impossible to write away. The first being an image of Security Puppet. The reason I know this is because Security Puppet has no tear tracks on the mask, while regular Puppet does. This means that this sticky note is drawn of a memory before Charlie's murder, very possibly connecting Elizabeth to Fredbear's Family Diner, a business where William, her father, was the co-owner of. And lastly, you have 2 different images of ice cream. The person is obsessed with ice cream, which, as we know with Elizabeth, is the reason why she got killed. And finally, being probably the biggest piece of evidence to confirm this identity of the sticky note, we have this. A note that blatantly says, "You are Afton family." All this evidence narrows it down to 2 different characters. The bite victim, which is possible, but again, this is linked to Vanny, so it doesn't necessarily make sense why it would be him. And if you take Glamrock Freddy down there, he doesn't have any response, something that he would if he was bite victim, or even Michael for that matter. This leaves one character, a child, an Afton, someone who has been to Fredbear's Family Diner, and someone linked to Vanny. The only character you can possibly draw a conclusion for is Elizabeth. And as for the cherry on top of final evidence, you have the blob, with Baby having her eyes not lit up. This means that she is not inside the blob and is somewhere out there. But anyways, guys, this is going to wrap up this episode of this deep dive into Circus Baby Villainy. This video took a long time, but I had a blast making this video for you all, as it puts all the evidence on the table for us to theorize and draw conclusions where Elizabeth Afton can, and likely will be, the next villain of the series. And if you guys really want it, I will make a part 3 going into the remaining book evidence that connects Elizabeth to Eleanor, which connects to the games. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, peace out.